Melodrama All-Stars is one of the most divisive seasons of the show, and it all comes down to how the season mischaracterizes and does all of its characters dirty. First up is Lindsay, who is in one episode of the season and has still managed to be completely butchered. In Total Drama Action, Lindsay's goal is to break the dumb blonde stereotype and to start to take charge and prove herself. But in this season, she's so dumb that she doesn't even know how to push a baby carriage. After she does learn how to push the carriage, she complains in a confessional that it's too much work, and I shit you not, she quits the game and votes herself off, because she doesn't like running. Off to a great start here. Lightning isn't done too dirty, as he's still funny. But one of his main character traits is that he always wants to win, but in episode 2, for some reason he's more concerned about kissing his biceps than winning. Joe doesn't do much but fight with Heather this season, which makes sense, but also kind of contradicts with last season, as Joe called Heather her kind of competitor. She also shoots her own teammate in episode 3, kind of like an idiot, and votes off her only potential ally in Lightning. Sam is fine this season. He really shouldn't even be here. He feels out of place. Even his elimination feels kind of forced, as it's kind of out of character for him to cheat in a challenge just for food. Heather is pretty good this season. It's really funny when she tricks Alejandro into worrying about her and proving he still cares about her. But her elimination is terrible. I do like the idea of Alejandro outsmarting Heather, just as Heather outsmarted Alejandro in World Tour. But the idea of Heather, one of the smartest competitors, hiding the immunity idol in the same place she found it and not knowing that Alejandro would take it when he was literally right there watching her, was stupid. I already hated Sierra in World Tour, but in this season, she is unbearable. She gets angry at anyone who confronts her about being insane. It makes sense that she would miss Cody, but her thinking Cameron is Cody gets old real fast, and her adopting a two-headed rat as her Cody Jr.'s is basically just a retread of her adopting the bird in World Tour. In World Tour, Duncan was completely sick of Courtney bossing him around, but in this season, Duncan is more concerned with impressing Courtney than he is his own girlfriend. Despite hating Courtney last season, all of a sudden he wants her attention, and this causes Gwen to break up with him. This makes him start to question if she broke up with him because she thinks he's not bad anymore, and this causes Duncan to try and fail to prove he's still a villain, which is entertaining, but it leads to Duncan blowing up Chris's mansion and getting arrested, which is just a horrible ending to his arc. Obviously, the way to do this story would have been to have Duncan accept that there is both good and bad within him, and embrace both sides to himself. It makes perfect sense that Ezekiel would want revenge on Chris. After all, he ruined his life. But personally, I wish they went all the way with this, and really gave us a sympathetic side to Zeke. He never really knew anything about the real world, except for the misogyny taught to him by his parents. But he was still thrusted into this competition, and went feral with literally nobody in the universe feeling bad for him. Cameron is kind of dumb this season. I also feel like he's too weak, especially after everything he learned in Revenge of the Island. Realistically, he should have caught on to Mal in episode 4. But no, they had to dumb him down to make Mal look like a more competent villain, which he isn't. Anyway, Mal tries to rig the votes against Cam, which makes no sense because Cam is his only ally. This ultimately leads to all of Cam's development being reversed and him going back into his bubble. Alejandro walking on his hands for the first half of this season is stupid and pointless. Other than that, he's actually pretty likable in this season, and very entertaining. Courtney is so weird this season. Courtney deserves a redemption story, as she's always had a conscience, but her obsession with winning the game has always been her weakness. And for the first half of the season, it seems like that's what we're going to get. She has her heartless moments, but Gwen and Scott start to bring out the good in her. This is all until one of the worst episodes of the show, where all of Courtney's character development is reversed, and she is back to talking shit about all her fellow competitors, including Gwen and Scott. So in this season, Gwen decided off-screen that she doesn't like Duncan anymore, and that her friendships and making up with Courtney is now taking first priority. But this contradicts the chemistry that Gwen and Duncan had in previous seasons. Scott is absolutely hilarious in this season. He's so dumb and lovable, which is a stark contrast to his character in Revenge of the Island. In that season, he was an asshole. But here, he is likable. His relationship with Courtney is very fun to watch unfold. Mal is one of, if not the worst villains in Total Drama history. He thinks he's so smart, but really he does a lot of stupid things. It makes no sense how he can overpower Alejandro, and he's just so cheesy with a ton of lame lines. This arc should have ended with a big fight between Mike and Mal, but instead we got Mike pressing a button to get rid of his personalities, which is so stupid because that's not how the ID works. Other than that, all he does is break his teammates' stuff, which makes no sense because why would he want to screw over his teammates? Finally, the winner of the season, Zoe. Zoe has a similar problem to Ken this season, where she's overall very dumb. Duncan tells Zoe about Mal early in the season, but for some reason she doesn't realize Mal is in control and trying to trick her until the last episode. And even then, she still chooses to take Mal to the finale. I do actually have one good thing to say about this season. The challenges. There are a lot of races, which can get a bit repetitive. The challenges themselves are more simple and grounded than the challenges in Revenge of the Island or even World Tour. In conclusion, I love Total Drama. But now with financial struggles in the animation industry, it's seemingly more and more likely that we'll never get another season of Total Drama, let alone one with characters returning from the first 4 gens. So it just makes it so sad that this is the last we'll see of these characters. And the horrible endings they get in this season are their true canon endings.